going to share with you that are coming in this quarter. So please stay tuned. Okay, so what I want to share with you is we have so many highlights to share with you. As you can see, and very nice, like even a few nurses enhancement. Indicated in each slide which one is released in this quarter and which one in the next one. We are adding into the quarter the one that are, if we manage to release like quick links first in Primo VE, we will show it here. And know that it's also coming in Primo for the February release. I'm going to indicate that. Okay, so what do we have in this session today? Today in this session, we have the quick links, a new feature that is about adding new links to full text, allowing the user direct access to the full text with the help of the providers that are giving us the information, and we are adding those links. So this is about the quick links. I will share a demo on that. There is another enhancement. It's about the show journal coverage dates in both the brief results and in the journal search interface. I will share a demo as well on that. And nurse enhancement, that is Exclude eBooks from CDI Results. I would like to tell you more about this feature, more about the intention and the direction to go. Support Austlang and custom languages. We wanted to answer the need of the community to define more languages than the one that are out of the box with the Primo. We're talking about the facet language and the full records display, specifically the language field. We'll share the details on that. Collection discovery, a very nice enhancement, allowing more flexibility for the patron to search across all collections. We'll share also a demo on that. And a nurse, I think it is an Alma nurse, also implemented in Primo VE and from the Primo back office as part of the mesh app, Alma mesh app. It's about the best location for the get it, giving you, the library, more options to define the order of the location to be displayed in the get it. And a very hot topic, also we have a dedicated working group that are working with us. It's about the diversity, equality, and inclusion. We would like to offer you more control and the ability to hide offensive or inappropriate subject terms. And also, so all of those are common things that are part of the roadmap, shared, going to be released in both Primo and Primo VE. And of course, I want to share with you specifically updates regarding to Primo VE and additional notable item. So you can see that there are many highlights to share. Let's start first with the release schedule. So the sandbox is already sandbox was on the October 24. In Primo, the rollout of the release is much longer. You can see the multi-tenant production in November 7. Local will get it end of November 21. We already published the release schedule for 2022 for Primo. For Primo VE, it will be published with the Alma. With the Alma release schedule, so expect this to be updated. In this quarter, regarding to Primo VE, we are actually dealing with October, November, and December release. Okay, and we will share update for all of those. Okay, let's start with the quick links. As I said, quick links is really a new feature. We worked very hard in order to deliver your patron links either to PDF or to an HTML format. Links that are letting the user really fast access the full text directly when clicking from that link. What I want to share with that is we're not talking with this link, we're not talking about the link resolver link. We're not talking the links to Unpaywall as introduced in the August release. We are actually talking about links that are coming directly from the provider, links that we are generating for you based on the metadata, based on the identifier of the metadata, and and if the links are coming from providers that are actually supported the quick links, and we are going to publish the list of providers that support the quick links. So with that, we are able to offer from the brief results link to PDF and HTML. So as I said, we're talking about two formats, PDF and HTML. It depends on what provider can give us. Some provider can give us the access to the PDF. Some provider can give us access to HTML, like Elsevier, for instance. When we're talking about HTML, it's being linked to a website, a web page that contains a full text, and perhaps in some cases a link to a web page that contains the beginning of the full text and include within it an option to the PDF. So it really depends. Anyhow, if we do have access to PDF or to HTML, we will choose to show you both and let the user consist. But we do also aware that you can have links to several patrons, links to several platforms. Like for instance, several providers can provide you with the link to the PDF. In that case, we will show only one link to the PDF, and we will prioritize which link to show alphabetically order. In the future, there might be a plan to give you an option to prioritize the provider. In this first release, we are doing the prioritization based on the alphabetic. Now, before I'm even going into the demo, I just want to mention, as I said, in each slide, I'm going to indicate when it's going to come. So the quick links are going to come in Primo VE in December release and are planned to be released in Primo for the February 22 release. Okay, as I mentioned, let me just quickly brief what I have shared, and then we'll go to the demo. So the quick links is going to be turned off by default. You can turn it off. Per view, of course. We worked with several providers, and we will publish the list of providers that cooperates and provide us the indication. As I say, the condition to display the quick links, quick links are going to be visible if they met several conditions, if the record has sufficient metadata, like the DOI, and if one of the links to the record, and if the library is right, because we are generating the link based on the rights that the library holds. So if you have rights to at least one of the provider that supports a quick link. So this is the term. So you may find yourself looking, hey, why do I have access? Why do I have link from this provider on that record when I don't have link to that? When the same I have other records from the same provider, but I don't have link. This could be maybe because of different metadata. So just I want to help with understanding some question. Also, as I said, we are sharing two kinds of format, PDF and HTML. For the HTML, based on the feedback with our early adopter that we work, we will call it read online instead of HTML. And for the PDF, we'll call it get PDF. And of course, you can choose to change the label. As always, we are giving you the flexibility for that. Let's do a demo. What's happened? Okay. So I'm going to share a demo. So I'm searching, and I expect to see in my brief results now. I'm drilled down. I expect to see here I have a link to HTML. I will try to also find an example when I have option for for other formats. So you can see here I found a user can actually very quickly go to the PDF. Okay, access to the PDF. Of that I find it. Okay, it's worked before. It took me before to the PDF. Let me find another. Okay, and I'm looking into the HTML. Yeah, this is a link to the HTML showing me. This is a link to the full text with the HTML with a link to that. I can try to find another example for PDF. Should have, I think that or most of the example here are Wiley. Perhaps I can find another example with PDF directly. Anyhow, this is the link. If you want your user to point to another link, you can continue use the view online to get into other links. Of course, or even if the full record, in the full record, you will have the PDF and the HTML. If you have access to other provider, those can be accessed through the view online with like the link resolver link. But this was about the PDF and HTML. Okay. Okay, let's move next. Okay. Another nice enhancement is the Exclude eBooks from CDI Results. So this actually, this feature, this nice enhancement started with the direction that community wanted. It's also voted very highly in the idea to allow dedupe and Fairbairn between local data and CDI data. And this is very complex to resolve because both of those are, because it's a two separated index and it's very complex, and currently with no solution, we can continue try to figure how to do it on the fly, but it was not part of NER's scope to answer that. And while discussing with the Primo working group on these NERs, we try to help the community, and the suggestion was maybe we will try to reduce the duplication that your patrons seeing by focusing in the book. So the direction was that we will give you an option to reduce books duplication, allowing you to prefer to show books from your local data and avoid showing ebooks from CDI from specific collections. So this was where we initially started, and due to very complex solution, and this is still on our desk, we choose to release something like it's all or nothing currently, but maybe because we think that it meets some customer expectations, and we will continue internally to figure out how to release it better. And we are also your feedback is also welcome. So what we are currently release, it's like, as I said, all or nothing. We are releasing the configuration to exclude ebooks like entirely from CDI. So if you choose to do that, as I can say, share in this example, if you choose to apply this configuration, that means that you will get books from your local in the blended search, but you won't see ebooks from the central discovery coming. This is an example for, like, I see a scope that is working on only on CDI, and you can't see ebooks. You can't see books in this resource type because it's been excluded. As I said, all or nothing. The approach was that we may hit some customer expectation to reduce the duplication, and some customer can use this configuration to avoid the duplication. This configuration option is going to be available both in Primo VE and both in Primo in the November release. And then we will continue discussing with the Primo working group on what is the next step with this community request and how can we approach. But this is currently what is being released with regarding to that NERS. Okay, next is another NERS enhancement released first in Primo VE November release, planned to be released in the Primo February release. Okay, this is about allowing the user to quickly understand what is the journal, what is the coverage of this journal. And when we are talking about journal, we are talking about journals that you are locally managed in Alma. Okay, we're not talking about journal from the CDI, but a local journal repository. Okay, what you can see here, and we really work very hard with the Almaty, is to you can see here a summary of the coverage. We choose to edit it to the availability line, and also there could be a simple cases for the coverage if you have list simple cases, and it could be a long coverage with many date range. I think that those cases are range. And this is why, as you can see, we choose to have, in case of we have so many date ranges, we choose to have the more indication. You can see here we are limiting up to 3 date range. And if there are more than that, we are in the user with the more labels. So user can go ahead and click on the full records to get the full coverage information over there. What we are trying to do is to give the user, most cases for the journal, a short coverage where he can understand, where he can understand if in the brief results, if the journal coverage matches the criteria of the search. So this is, of course, a nurse announcement, also voted in the idea. Before I'm doing a demo, I just like to do to give information and to give the coverage and more about the technical details that we added here. So as I said, it's been added to the availability line. You can see I put in some example of the calculation. You can see that in some example, one portfolio is being repeated all over, and we are like when we are doing the on the fly calculation, we are checking the biggest range and dropping the one that are the range is including the other or aggregate them. So you can see here from out of all of those 4 portfolio, we are just giving a really short summary, the one that are the big range. You can see also example where here we are showing also the range in the embargo. If we do have the embargo, we will show that. And there will be some cases where there will no available. We are not going to show coverage. In that cases, it's either that it's available always, or we are missing dates information on the portfolio. Okay. As I said, it's being calculated on the fly, and it's take a while until we display it. We will not hold the display of the availability. We will show the availability lines, and once the calculation is over, we will add this coverage information. All of these terms, coverage, the embargo, are one that can be configured and labeled, and you can change, of course. And I think that, and one last thing before the demo, the scope of this feature is actually the brief results and the journal search interface. You will not find the journal coverage as part of the My Favorites, for instance, because it's for us is very complex when we are out of the search context to do this calculation. Okay, so only from the brief results and the journal search interface, we are able to deliver you the journal coverage. Let's do a demo. Okay. So I'm going to demo from the journal search interface first. You will see that available online is being presented first. In the backend, there was a calculation of the coverage, and you can see it's been added here. Okay, the average online, the coverage from 2000 most recent here. It's also being added to the full records, and of course, the full details of the coverage is appears as today per the portfolio here. You can see, yes, the display. You can see the display more coverage, like with the embargo, as I said. I can also demo that. I can also demo from the library search. Let's try to do that from the library search as well. So I'm going to search for natures from the library search. I can also, maybe I'll reduce to the journals. Sorry. As I said, it's take a while. I'm also doing that from a really slow environment, our QA. Yeah, so you can see that available online appear here. And of course, here is example from some. I can't find you now example with the hints of more, but you can of course play around with that. Just another indication that I want to share with you. In Primo VE, it's available from the November release, but you will be able to activate it only from November 7. That means that you can test it in your sandbox and configure that only 2 weeks from now. We had some last issue with the configuration. It will be coming both your sandbox and production availability in 2 weeks from now. And we put it in the release notes. Okay, so this was about the journal coverage. Let's continue with the presentation. Next is about the option for you, the library, to define more languages. I'm not talking about the user interface languages. We are talking about the languages that are part of your Marc data, the languages that are being displayed in the language field in the display section, and also in the facet language. Okay, so we are introducing a new language code table, a customized language code where you can add new language code. We are also added out of the box to support the Australian region, the Austlang language code. And so it's being added out of the box. You can choose to add your new language codes. The idea was to prevent cases where the system cannot recognize the language, and while doing that, we are actually saying undetermined or undefined value instead. So you can fix those. I just want to mention, if you are choosing to add rows to this language code, I just want to mention it will work with the display, but if you want them to be searchable in the facet language, this will require a re-indexing to apply the changes. So you can choose to play next to the semi-annual, or you can choose to index specific records, or yeah, of course, or target it to next to the semi-annual. This was released in October for Primo VE. It's also coming in Primo in the November release. Was part of the NERS and also in the idea. Collection discovery. I think this one is really nice, adding more flexibility for the collection discovery. And this is about more option to search across all collection. You can see that we added a new search bar in the collection lobby. So user can search for items across all the collections. And if they are doing so, they will see the items. They will see items, as you can see here, appear in these collections. This coming from the idea. We also, before I demo, we also added another option. So if you are within a specific collection, today, when you are searching from a specific collection page, we allow the search only on item or sub-collection that are directly under the specific collection page. We technically, we could not allow, we couldn't do the search in the hierarchy of the current collection page. We didn't do that, and we also initially, when released the search, when discussing customer, they said from the collection page, we would like to have it directly from the for the items that are associated directly to this collection page. Okay, and now with this new enhancement, what we are suggesting is while you are searching from the collection page, and if you find something but you do not like what you find or there are no items, we are prompt the user to expand the search to search across all collection. So the solution that we are giving here is not necessarily I'm searching only under this music library collection and underneath, but we are searching cross boards, cross all collection. And then we can meet also the expectation to find the item that is in my sibling uh, or in the parents or any other. So this is an approach that we went, and we also prompt the user to go ahead to search that. Let's do this search so you feel it. Okay. So this is a really nice collection, Leobi. Okay, and I'm going to search for Pink Floyd because I know there are some kind of music collections underneath. I don't remember the hierarchy. I just want to search for specific items that are associated to Pink Floyd, sorry. And I do find the results. I do find the item directly from the collection lobby. If I want to know in which collection they appear, I can open the collection, the full records, and in the collection path, I can hint that it is under the music library collection or under the classic rock collections. And now what I would like to offer, and now if I'm in this box sets collection page, okay, and I will search for Pink Floyd, for instance, and I know that it's sibling to this classic world, to the classic or to the pop rocks. I don't recall the name. I'm getting no results for that, but I'm being offered to search across all collection. I may find what I want in other collections. So I'm going ahead. I'm gonna click on that, and then again, it leads me to this all collections page with the results. With the results from that. And I can find what I want. And I found across all collection. The way it works is that we actually, the scope of the search is searching across all items that are associated to any collection. This is the way behind the scene that it works. Just to end my demo, if I uh, just in the middle, we also added the sort of the sort, of course, and we also add the if I eliminate this Pink Floyd here, I'm going to it's going to retrieve me to the back to the collection lobby with all of the collection. If I want to go back to the collection, I can use the arrow. Now, we're releasing this out of the box. I know really a few customers that did some customization pointing to advanced search from the collection. So I'm noting this customer. Please be aware if you did some customization, you are welcome to check if the new search capability actually answer your needs. And instead of pointing to the advanced search, you can now use the search within the collection as we offered. Okay, next. Next is an Almanes, the best location for Get It. Okay, it's been released in Primo VE in December release, and the Primo customer can get it with the Alma December release as part of the Alma Meshach, it's part of the Alma Meshach. And what is this all about? This is all about the option to define the order of the library in the location. So you will be able to control the order in the get it, or even what to display first in the availability line. Because so far today, what we do have is ability to sort by IP range or alphabetically order. And now with this, we are actually giving a manual option, and in Primo VE, it will even be per view to determine what location and library are, which location and library to show first. Okay. Okay, now a very hot topic, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And before I'm going to share what specific feature we are delivering in that area. I just want you to find more information on the effort that is being done at Ex Libris. Oops, I misspelled the link here. So the effort that we are doing here, you can find it here. You can find an email. You can find a way to report on offensive terms here. Or you can use, and this new feature that we are delivering, what is it all about? We are giving you a library, an option to maintain a list where you can define the offensive subject terms in a list, in a file. And if we recognize that in exact match that a subject terms that is about to be displayed in Primo VE is part of this list that you are maintaining, you ask to hide, we will not show that. We actually put a filter, and before we are returning a response to the Primo client side, we are going to check the facets, the value in the subject facets or the value of the subject fields, and we are going to hide. So why we are doing these efforts? If it's your local data, if you have offensive subject in your local data, of course that you can choose to manipulate the data and change it. It's more under your control to do that. And the changes that you are doing can also affect the index. Here, when you also get information from CDI that we are working with so many providers, of course, we do rely on the providers to provide a good metadata, but if there are some subjects that you think that are offensive, you can do report us and we will try to approach the provider and fix that. But in the meantime, you can have an immediate control and choose to hide it. So it's giving you control from your local data, but also giving you control on data that is coming from the central index. And you have the ability to hide it if needed. This is being released in the December for Primo VE, and it's going to be available also in February 22 for the Primo. And then again, I just want to emphasize it's about hiding from being displayed. It's not about re-indexing. It's only from being displayed. Okay, so far I cover all of the highlights that are both Primo and Primo VE. Some of them are coming in this quarter, most of them, and some will be released in the next quarter. Specifically to Primo VE, I put the schedule of what is coming in October, November, and December release. I would like to talk to you about something that is featured released in October, the flexibility to customize the dedupe and Ferber complete keys for more tuning option. A new service that we are offering that you may find it useful. It depends. We call it a may be held by or may also be found in it. On the support Austlang we talk, the show journal coverage we already demo and the Exclude. I will also would like to share about the support proxy user. Now we are in Primo VE has full support in the proxy user. You can define. I will share a dedicated slide. I'm going to share also about the option of the view it, allowing you to show more services over there. And for the December release, we talked about the best location, about the DEI. I'm going to only briefly tell you that we are also going to expand, enhance the library card personal details to show more indication on the patrons, more roles, more emails, or more identifier if there are any. And we also, for consortia, we are going also to index local extension. We call it in institution aware mode. That means that if I'm in one institution and I have a local and I have a local extension, a facet that is being defined on a local extension, I would like to see in this facet the value that are only coming from my institution. I don't want to see values that are coming from other institution. So we are changing the way that we are index supporting the local extension there. So this is also coming in the December release for Primo VE. Now, dedicated the slide for the customization for the dedupe and Ferber. We now open the configuration for open the configuration of the key combination, the one that are that help you to actually do the matching in the Ferber and the dedupe. Okay, so you can what you can do now with this table, you can actually choose to change its existing combination, edit them, drop one of the key in the combination if you don't like it. You can actually delete entire combination and add up to 5 new key combination from your own. This enhancement was not about adding a new keys. We do found ideas requesting to add a keys. We also do approach the community for that. We are going to add it in 2022. If you know on a new keys that you want to ask, it's a good time to write to us on that. We're not talking in this announcement about new key, but we're talking about the key combinations, the key complete. Okay, once you choose to change this table to change the complete key, what do you need to do in order to test it? You can use it in your sandbox, apply the changes, and in the dedupe and Ferber test utility, you can use the recalculate to test the subset of records while you are doing that. And if you choose to go ahead and new configuration, you would like new configuration to be applied in your production, you will need to open a case and ask us to recalculate your data or reindex, or you can do this close to the next semi-annual indexing. So this was about more option, more flexibility to customize the key combination that to affect the dedupe and Ferber processing. Now I want to introduce you a new service. We call it may also be held by. This service is more about an option where you want to link, you want to point your patron and link them to more other external libraries, external sources that may hold this bib record, may hold this record. And the way this service works, it's being rely on a hint in the mark. You can have it's being based on a mark field that you can choose, and you can define a specific mark field where you can hint using a code, a predefined code, where this external source, external library is located, and add all the information in a mapping table about this library. We actually wanted to answer, for instance, use case here when like you may have a hybrid consortia. Some of the institution may be in ALMA, some are not. You want to point your user to institutions that are not shared in ALMA, so you can tell them in the records, you can hint in the records, hey, these records can also be found in other library, and you can define the URL for that. This is one use case that we wanted to target. Of course, the service is also available in Union View and single institution consortia. I just want to quickly demo how the workflow works. So you can choose to have a field in the mark that point to that have a code that point to a central table or mapping table that you want to manage, that for each code you can define what to display and a URL to what to be displayed. As you can see, for these records, we are being pointed to this code, and it's going to be displayed this label here. And when the user will click on the link, how this link is going to be built, the link can be dynamically built on this URL, also have the option to add dynamic information like identifier from the records. And eventually, the link that the user will link, it will build the ways you choose to have like a template of the link with an option to have an identifier from the record. So this was a service. You can check and see if it suits your needs. Okay, so it's just available for you. I think it's on October, really, or was released in October. More enhancements that we did, allowing you here in the view it, an option to see more services, more options, more services in the view it. So far, we limited that to 25. In Primo VE, now you can, there is an configuration in Alma where you can extend this configuration, and Primo VE will support that. We will show up to 10 records in a page and the pagination if this configuration is enabled. Okay, I think that the last one before your question and what's coming next. No, actually, I have additional notable things. The last feature that I want to share is about the support proxy user in Primo VE. Proxy in Alma, you can define a proxy user, as you can see here, that is actually can submit requests on behalf on a dedicated sponsor ID that you are defined. So you can submit requests from Primo VE as a proxy user, and also a proxy user can track the request that he submitted on behalf of on the sponsor user in the My Library request. As you can see here, a proxy user submitted a request on in the biology for biology, and the proxy user can see it from the My Library request, and even the sponsor user. This is a view of the sponsor user that can see in the request that the proxy user submitted, but also requests that he submitted himself. So this is like a full support in the proxy user in Primo VE. More thing that I want to mention, in the release notes now, we are going to add a new section. We call it a CDI related update. CDI is a service that both Primo VE, and also other products, Esploro and Leganto are using. We would like to, in our release note, to reflect you some updates that are regarding to CDI that may happen in between your releases. Sometimes we are saying to you like, okay, we have the quick links features, but it's going to be available starting of a day that is not part of this on the Primo release date. It will be part of the update software of the CDI. So in this section, we are going actually to reflect you those changes. So you are welcome to visit that not only when you visit the release note, you are welcome to remember that we are also on monthly basis on the first Wednesday of each month. We are releasing an updates for CDI, and if there are any updates that is being related to Primo VE, we will try to update. We will update that. We're talking about some resolved issues or even dates of features that are being released. It's not about the big feature with the highlights that are coming in the Primo VE. Let me just share with you how it's look like, so you will be aware of that. So as I say, in the Primo VE and in the Primo release note, there will be additional information. We have the CDI related updates. It will always appear, even if I'm filtering here to November or to all, you always have an option to link here. The link should take you down there below to the CDI related updates, and you can see that if you want to use the configuration to exclude eBooks, it will be available in November 3rd, okay? Because it's the first Wednesday of the first Wednesdays of the month, and we are also explaining you here about this CDI release, and you can see that in December 1st, there might be another updates, not necessarily of the time, but you just you can recall and be aware of that. Okay, more things. We also added a how-to section in the Primo VE training section. We added some feature that we added some feature uh, that released in Q3 of this year, like about configuring the forms. And also about the download, so you can be aware that from time to time we are adding here clips, new videos to the how-to with regard to the recent features that we are releasing. So you are welcome to see this information here. We also want to share with you that we had some issue with the doTERRA integration after we released the new pagination. And with the cooperation with the doTERRA, now those issues are being fixed, so it will be available with the November release. You will be able to, as before, while you are opening the full records, to export to doTERRA. I think that you should be also aware that also items from collection page will be supported. I think it's coming in, the support for that is coming in the next quarter for Primo VE. Okay, what is coming next in the next quarter? So in the next quarter, we're going to share the NERS enhancement about showing all the full text link in the view online for CDI. This is something that the community wants. We are going to add more links to the CDI, more CDI, more links to CDI records. We are going to enhance the database search to include search not only by the database title, but other other keywords, other search fields that exist today. We also intend to include the categories. So if you are typing the categories in the search bar, you will also be able to search the database. Database will be retrieved. We are going to index the categories as well for search, for keyword searching over there. In Primo VE, we're going to add configuration to support, to index more holding information. You will be able to define which holding fields you want to index. And we also going to enhance the related titles that we display, supporting the sort. So we released a way to show related titles for series, for instance. We are now going to support the way it being displayed in the full records, hopefully by volumes. It depends. This is currently in analysis phase. So this was all of the things that I want to share with you. I think it's we work very hard to deliver as much as you can see. Stuff are being releases. We are waiting for feedback. I hope that it will be a smooth release. I think we will see you again in the next quarter. What's new, but also in the next quarter, we will do also a roadmap webinar. And thank you for joining this session as always.